The Honourable Nathan Guy.
Yeah, Mr Chair, thank you very much. Great opportunity to take a call on this very important bill that we're debating this evening. Thank you very much for the contributions that I've heard this afternoon, this evening, first and second readings and now in the committee stage. It's interesting to put some balance into this because there's been quite a focus from the left about this is going to really harm the tourism industry. And I think they haven't done their research well enough, because it's interesting some of the comments that I've read is that the tourism industry in 2013 indicated it wasn't opposed to a border levy, and this issue has been around for quite a period of time. In fact, Labor even considered it when they were in government. What's also interesting is that the Flight Centre Managing Director, Chris Greaves, said, so long as there are real benefits for our customers and the additional fees are spent on ensuring the customer experience is as best it can be through keeping border processes updated and investing in improvements, then we wouldn't see these new charges as a negative. So I didn't hear that from Annette King. I didn't hear that. All I heard was rhetoric from Annette King. There's no balance in Labor's argument this evening. What is also missing in their rhetoric are other public comments. Other public comments that I have seen that Annette King might be interested in. KVH, Kiwi Fruit Vine Health. Their chairman says it's both logical and sensible to implement a passenger surcharge which will go a long way in future-proofing the cost of New Zealand's biosecurity system, currently borne by New Zealand taxpayers. That's KVH chairman Peter Ombler. Annette King didn't make any comments about that. Also from the Dairy Companies Association of New Zealand, I want to quote, they thank the government for its commitment to responding to the changes which are altering New Zealand's biosecurity risk profile. DCANZ is encouraging the public to see this levy within the bigger picture of biosecurity of New Zealand. Biosecurity is not just a concern for primary industries. The introduction of Didymo, commonly known as rock snot, has permanently altered many waterways and affected recreational activities. So it's interesting that the Dairy Companies Association of New Zealand straight away are talking about not only biosecurity, but moving into biodiversity and moving into the fact that if we don't strengthen our borders with an increase of volume and risk, then our tourism industry is going to be affected. And Annette King hasn't acknowledged that in 2001, when the UK had FMD, it affected their tourism industry by about 15 billion New Zealand dollars. What is also interesting are other comments, and I want to bring to the House's attention Horticulture New Zealand. What Horticulture New Zealand President said, the good thing about this levy is that as numbers of visitors increase, so will the revenue it generates to cover the increased cost of processing passengers and the risk they represent. Horticulture New Zealand President goes on to say the suggested levy is still a long way off the $58 that's charged by Australia, a country with similar biosecurity requirements to our own. So, on one hand, we have the primary industry saying good on the government to bringing this in, and actually one of them saying it should be even higher. And we have also the department disclosure statement on the table tonight, which some members have referred to, which says that the impacts are going to be low on visitors. And yes, we have got a RIS that's going to go out with the discussion document, and that'll answer Annette King's question. That document we propose to be out in June. And also Annette King has raised this sort of, I'm not sure if it's mythical or not, this 2003 agreement, Mr Chair.
The Honourable Nathan Guy.
What I would say about that, I've asked my officials to have a look in and see what they can find on this agreement. They can't actually find anything official about this agreement. What I would say is that time has moved on from 2003. Our visitor numbers are growing like this. Our risk profile is also increasing. This is about fairness. This is about 2015. This is about passenger numbers forecast to grow at 4% a year for the next 6 years. This is about focusing on risk passengers. Also, can I clear up another point that's been made? Can I clear up another point? If Annette King would give me a moment, I'll try and clear it up for her. She might be interested. So this is about a levy. Over the next 3 or so years, it's going to generate about $105 million for biosecurity run by MPI and Customs. Currently, that is funded by the taxpayer. We believe it's fairer that those that are utilising those services, 55% of those are foreigners, should pay for the use of those services. And as our volumes increase by what I've said, estimated 4, maybe 5% a year looking out, that money will come in with that passenger. So put it another way, as more people come into New Zealand from overseas, the funding will follow them, and that means that our services will be able to continually improve and be bolstered. Can I clear up another point for Mr Shaw, who's made, I think, a very good contribution to the debate this afternoon and this evening. Now, Mr Shaw gets it. He gets it. He realises that this levy is about strengthening the biosecurity system. Mr Shaw gets it because he knows that if we have a biosecurity incursion, it affects our tourism industry. Mr Shaw also gets the fact that it could have an impact on biodiversity. So Mr Shaw has raised another comment that I want to clarify, and that is about the money that's been allocated in budget 2015 through Customs and MPI, which equals about $30 million. That is going to be focused on, in the next 4 years, about further strengthening the biosecurity and customs system. Now, I can talk, that's extra money that I have been able to get out of the government from the taxpayer to further strengthen the biosecurity system. That is going to be focused on more detector dogs, more X-ray machines, more audits of our IHS, our import health standards, more visits to offshore countries where we bring produce and trade from to check that they're following and adhering to the IHS. So this is more money. This is a significant investment in the biosecurity system. Now, my challenge to New Zealand First, who want to run around the regions of New Zealand and say we are the regional party, is to get on board with this legislation, to get on board and support it, because the primary industries, Mr Prosser, are backing this. The primary industries realises that more needs to be done. They realise that this is about fairness. So as volumes grow, the money will increase. That means more of a focus on the biosecurity passenger system. The other important thing in this debate is to realise that this money goes into a trust account, a memorandum account. It must be spent. It must be spent through MPI, biosecurity and customs on the passenger pathway. And that is an important point to make this evening in the debate. So in conclusion, I support this bill. It's about fairness. It's about a growing volume of passengers coming across our border. It's about a risk profile that's changing. It's about MPI and customs being more responsive. It's about protecting our primary industries, which actually, by the way, enhances tourism, because a lot of tourists come to New Zealand to enjoy our biosecurity, to enjoy our biodiversity, to enjoy the great outdoors, to enjoy what New Zealand has to offer.